24 of 30 of rapid Facebook group growth. Today is about telling your story is key. Telling your story is key. There's a lot of buzz going around about this, but basically what I've learned this last year in 2023 is the more that I would tell my story and do it authentically, vulnerably, not keeping walls up, admitting mistakes, admitting insecurities, fears. I had many people joined not just the Facebook group, but also joined programs, paid programs of mine, because I let the walls down and was vulnerable and authentic and told the story of how when I started this, all I knew, like some of you that feel led to start your own Facebook group or who already have, you're just supposed to do it. You're just supposed to do it. And you see like this much of the road. And a lot more of the road becomes visible as you journey down it. But you tell your story like I did. I told my story the entire way through. And every story has ups and downs, losses, maybe failures, depending how you look at failure. Lessons at the very least. And by telling your story and unzipping and going, here's my heart. This is what's going on. People, number one, feel like you can be a safe place for them because you are coming across real and authentic in a world that is lipsticked to the nines. Telling your story is so key because what it also did for me, the more I told my story, the more selfishly, the benefit for you is you get to see yourself in your story. And the more we speak it, it's like journaling. Someone told me yesterday about this new journaling exercise where you journal for 4 days in a row and you journal on one topic. Some of you might want to try this. And you have to journal for 20 minutes nonstop. You can't stop journaling for 4 days. And you evolve in the process because you're allowing what's inside to get out. And the more you tell your story as you grow your own Facebook group, the more you're gonna learn what your story is. And that's the coolest part, is that your story almost takes shape beneath you as you're walking it out the more you tell it, because it's subjective. My vantage point of my own life is very subjective, but the more I get it out there, the more I'm heard, the more I can be validated on what is and what isn't me. And number two, it also helps so much for people to connect with you. People that hear the story of how you overcame this or went through that or struggled with this or feel called and you can't shake it to X, Y, and Z to do it. It allows them to hear you as you ring your bell. Your story rings a certain type of bell. And those that are wired to hear that bell will come because they come because your story. They don't come because it's perfect or it's polished. Because in the beginning, it's going to be very, very far from that. For the first year or two, polish comes year 2, 3. That's where polish comes in anything, but it's getting it out there, getting your story out there. It'll really work for you the more authentic and vulnerable you are. I watch other coaches and what they do, and the ones that really talk about, and some more than others, certain personality types are drawn to it more than others, but the people that let their guard down and they tell their story, the ups and downs, and when they're in the hospital, and when this happened with their kid, and they invested in this new AI thing, and it turned out to be a scam, and whatever, it's like, well, we can relate to each other, and we realize we're not alone. People don't want to be alone. I just interviewed Diane Chase in the group today on communication, and a key part of communication is story. That's something I want to do even better in 2024 is tell story, and something she highlighted was also informing others, communicating your way through things, something I'm looking at growing in. I want to grow in 2024, and I will grow in. And so as you look to grow your own Facebook group and rapidly, one of those keys is tell your story. Not that your group is all about you. Make your group about others. That's the other thing. But as you listen to their stories, they're going to feel so heard and seen. And then you're going to know, and people in your group are going to know who to connect with. And as you tell your story, you're going to win people over. People that may have been on the fence or may have not even been close to the fence. Your story can win people over, and you can get friends for life. This group has produced for me at least probably 24 friends for life, if not 3 or 4 dozen friends for life. And it wasn't because it's a Facebook group, and it wasn't because I interviewed them or it served my butt off, and it wasn't because they're on some summit, or it was because I told my story and they told me it was that. They said, but when you told your story and you said XYZ, I knew they watched the whole hour and 20-minute video when I was interviewed back in like April or May. So I would encourage you, tell your story. If you're not growing a Facebook group, fine. Still tell your story to people. I would encourage you, because that's what's gonna land you new friends, new buyers, is because we need to connect heart to heart. Even the most walled up people they've been hurt, they're damaged, they got armor on, they still connect because of heart to heart. That's my encouragement to you. Day 24 is about telling your story. My story was, I jumped into growing a Facebook group January 15th of 2023 because I felt like Spirit was telling me you need to do this for the previous 5 months. I would pray about it. I'd be like, you sure, God? Like, I don't know. How do I do this? How do I do that? None of it became apparent until I jumped in. Seriously, I didn't know anything. I just knew I invited 20 people January 15th and 11 accepted on my new group. And then I started going into other groups, inviting people, yada, yada, figuring out what works, what doesn't for a year. And I've learned pretty good what works and how to grow a Facebook group pretty quick. But I didn't know any of this jumping in. I just knew I had to do it. A lot of you feel that you're called to do something and you're weighing this, you're weighing, but how? It doesn't matter. If you jump in and start telling your story, you will attract people. You'll attract some of the right people. And yeah, you'll grow and you'll make mistakes. It doesn't matter. Yeah, some mistakes cost more than others, but it's all learning experiences. And the people that are drawn to your story are the ones that are going to stick around through the thick and thin. They're going to see past imperfections because they know what matters most is the heart of the matter, and that's the matter of the heart. Your story is the big part of that heart. And so as you let that heart out, let that story out, let them see you as you are, imperfect and all, you'll find it's gloriously somehow perfect. And these beautiful people start coming to you that don't want to leave your life because they just love your story, because they find themselves in your story. You say things that resonate with them, that matter to them. And people do business and want to hang out with people that value the same things they value. And so by telling your story, you're telling the world what you value, what matters to you most. And then those that need to find you, because your frequency is going out, that radar signal, that bell is being rang, they'll come and you'll accomplish what you need to accomplish. And you'll learn as you need to learn, just like I'm learning as I need to learn. But it all starts with being brave enough to tell your story. And so if you're someone that hasn't been interviewed yet in this group, also comment interview beneath this. We'll make sure you shoot you an interview link because we want to get your story out there, because you might be able to reach 1,000 of you in this group can reach someone that I can't reach, but your story can reach them, and your story will make all the difference in their life. So make sure you get interviewed if you know in your heart you need to get your story out there. Thanks for being here. Day 24 of 30 of Rapid Facebook Group Growth. Quick shout out again to Diane Chase, who I interviewed today on communication. Check that interview out. She's awesome. And thanks for being in Empower Network TV. Remember, your story matters to someone.